Friends, watch this video to the end. I have collected the rarest historical photos especially for you. Under Nicholas II, Russia took the first place in the world in oil production in 1901, overtaking America, and began to claim the title of a global energy power. Subsequently, the Americans returned to the first place, but Russia firmly held the second place in the world. On the left in the picture is the famous American entrepreneur of Scottish origin, a major steel industrialist, multi-millionaire, and philanthropist Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie, 1835 to 1919. He has nothing to do with the man on the right, Dale Carnegie. Deputies of the dispersed First State Duma are being taken to prison. The year is 1906, after the Vyborg Proclamation. Our tale of mountain rescuers at the mine Donetsk Basin, the beginning of the 20th century. Pay attention to Draeger's breathing apparatus. The entertainment of white gentlemen. Championship among blacks in punching the bottom of barrels with a running head. USA, 1905. The year is 1900. Famous photographer Alexander Grunblatt took a picture of a young peasant woman from Kineshimsky district of Kostroma province. A girl is sitting a large loom, smiling slightly at the camera. View of the corner of Hemming Park and Monroe Street in Jacksonville, Florida, 1904. British liner RMS Celtic shortly before launching. Harland and Wolff Shipyard, Belfast, April 1901. Tennis court of New York University, the Bronx, 1904. Eden Park Reservoir in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1904. Near the cash registers in the office of a gas company in Detroit, on the left are samples of stoves, 1908. Gymnasium in the building of a young men's Christian organization on 23rd Street in New York, 1904. Pantaloons are women's underwear in the form of elongated briefs trimmed with lace. An accessory for women's underwear that covers the body from the waist to the knees. A mandatory detail of the can-can performer's toilet. Dental training at the University of Philadelphia, 1904. A 33-horse combine harvester in Walla Walla County, Washington, 1902. Spraying is a method of controlling a filly, a type of locust. Stavropol Province, the beginning of the XX century. American submarines USS Porpoise, SS-7, and USS Shark, SS-8, in Dry Dock No. 1 at Brooklyn Navy Yard, March 23, 1905. On the main street in the small town of Mackinac Island, Michigan, USA, located on a nameless island on Lake Huron, 1908. Elevator drive at a copper mine in Calumet, Michigan, USA, 1906. During the California Gold Rush, a little Chinese man named John was considered an idiot. The whole staff laughed at him. He washed the gold digger's clothes and didn't charge a cent for it. People poured into his laundry room, and the little hard-working Chinese did not refuse anyone. In a few months of work, John washed so much gold dust from the pockets and folds of the gold digger's clothes that this gold was enough for him for the rest of his life. A fisherman and his wife with a catch. Norway, 1915. (1973). King Olaf V of Norway travels by tram. Norway in old photographs, 1880. The day of lifting restrictions on the sale of sweets in the country. The opening of a pastry shop. Great Britain, 1953. Edith Tudor Hart. A child looks out the window of the Whitechapel Bakery. 1935. London, 1943. An Englishwoman is watering vegetables on the roof of her small garden bomb shelter. When the Allied powers ran out of people, they turned to China for help. During the war, about 175,000 Chinese workers were recruited to the Middle East, France, Great Britain, and Russia, where they were used as diggers in the construction of various defensive structures, roads, and as laborers at various enterprises. Celebration of the return from the 100 combat flight of the Lancaster bomber from the 467 Squadron of the Royal Australian Air Force. Hardware merchants in Maidenhead, Berkshire, photographed during a break in 1900. Sutcliffe's wonderful photographs capture life in the old English town of Whitby and its surroundings at the end of the Victorian era and the beginning of the 20th century. Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth II and the military. 16-year-old suffragette Dora Thulis is arrested near Buckingham Palace, London, England, 1907. Girls in gas masks frolic at recess, London, Great Britain, June 27, 1940. British soldiers with a Gatling gun, 1890s. London Military Hospital, 1918. One leg for 7 soldiers. Employees of the National Air Raid Precautions Animal Committee carry an Airedale Terrier to the hospital, which was injured during an air raid, England, 1940. Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain visits Westminster on Holy Thursday, where she will make her first public appearance since the beginning of her reign, 1952. Asbestos firefighting suits being modeled at a UK factory, October 14, 1940. Tobacco mascot at the VA Hospital, Mississippi, 1948. You only go around once in life. Go for the gusto. Schultz Beer, 1911. Father and daughter bike ride, Washington State, 1896. Two girls on a donkey in Egypt, early 1950s. A day at the beach for my grandmother, Center, and her friends, 1905. Peak athleticism, 1915 style. Lady in Santa Monica, California prepares to lift a barbell in Muscle Beach, 1940s. Young men at University Farm School, Davis, California, C. 1915-1918. The first Miss America pageant contestants, 1921. Contestants in the Wilson, North Carolina Tobacco Festival Beauty Pageant, June 1938. Dressed up for lunch, late 1950s. A DC, 4 flying over New York City, 1939 by Margaret Burke White. Father and daughter collecting firewood among wildflowers, location unknown, 1900. Cooking inside her home on Sumbawa Island in Indonesia, 1956. 5 people picnicking at beach below Magnolia Bluff, Seattle, Washington, 1915. Children of Bethel AME Church Sunday School posing for their photo, 1901. Portrait of a group of laborers taken at the studio of photographer Wilhelm Lundberg in Stockholm, Sweden. Photograph taken in c. 1870. A Volvo in the Old Town of Stockholm, 1960s. Young boys drive an ox cart full of grain home from the field in India, 1952. The first Miss America pageant contestants, 1921. Young men playing dice, California, c. 1915 to 18, from Scrapbook of Windsor McLean. Finnish Army Patrol of Battle Group, Lumu. Infantry Regiment 1 soldiers is raising the Finnish war flag at the three-country cairn. Lapland, Finland, April 27, 1945. Men of the Worcestershire Regiment holding the southern bank of the River Ain at Maisie, May 27, 1918. An officer of the Cuban National Police mounted on horseback in a rural area, circa 1930. A peaceful demonstration by Jewish residents of East London in protest against the killings of Jews in Poland. Great Britain. The year is 1919. The rugged Scottish Highlanders are having fun. Scotland. The year is 1929. British infantrymen on a Sherman tank. Somewhere in Holland. The Second World War. September 1944. Celebrating the end of World War II in London. 1945. Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, built in 1912 on Sydney Street, Australia, 1936. Volunteer Squad for Extinguishing Forest Fires on Black Friday, January 13, 1939, Australia. Scylla Gable, Italian actress. Italy. The year is 1961. The Newlyweds. Edmonton, province of Alberta, Canada. The end of the 1940s. Boys from the town of St. Indebepper, 1920. Canadians largely followed English traditions, and they adopted a love of tea. A young man with a girlfriend from the Canadian side of Niagara, Canada, late 19th century. On March 24, 1931, the millionth Canadian-made Ford rolled off the assembly line at a factory in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. On the left is the president of the Canadian branch of Ford, Wallace R. Campbell. On the right is the chief engineer of the plant, J. Dysart. Canadian writer Grey Owl feeds a small pupil, 1930s. Visual campaigning for the prevention of forest fires in Canada, 1947. Mother and son waiting for transport at an intersection in Luxembourg, 1945. A Dutch woman refuses to leave her husband, a German soldier, and goes with him to be captured by the Allies. Walcheren, Holland, November 1944. Mobilization of the Dutch Army, 1914. Dog sleds with machine guns on carts. A woman delivers tea to mobilized soldiers, the Netherlands, 1939. City Beach, Amsterdam, 1923. Photo of officials of the Joseon dynasty, Kingdom of Korea, who visited Russia to participate in the coronation ceremony of Nicholas II in 1896. A pair of Vought F-4U Corsair night fighters over the American aircraft carrier USS Boxer, CV-21, during the Korean War, September 4, 1951. Interrogation by the South Korean military police of North Korean prisoners of war, Pyongyang, 1950. A man in a bluish uniform with a rifle on his shoulder is a miliciano. Detachments of volunteers patrol the streets of towns and villages day and night, protecting the work and recreation of the builders of socialist Cuba. Girls Carrying Water, Colombia, 1977. For the first time, Che Guevara's name appeared in newspapers not in connection with revolutionary events, but when he made a 4,000 kilometers tour on a moped, traveling all over South America. Car Repair Shop, Mexico, 1950s. A desert in the state of Rajasthan, India. The year is 1890. Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru paid a friendly visit to the Soviet Union in 1955. A Hindu submerged in sand in an attempt to appease Varuna, the god of rain, and stop the downpours. Mumbai, India, 1953. Indian suffragists on the march demanding rights. London, Great Britain, June 17, 1911. The Juggernaut Chariot, Madras, 1851. Various types of public passenger transport in India in the 20s of the last century.